As European nymphing has evolved, I've become more enamored and somewhat more influenced by the style. One thing that I've done and I've adapted of my own is I've always liked thread for my mayfly nymphs. It keeps your flies trim, keeps the profile to the liking of the fish. And one thing that I've done with the S&M nymph and kind of my own take on mayfly nymphs is I've adapted a thread-only Two Tone Baetis pattern to it, using lighter thread for the body, darker thread for the back, and creating a pattern that has basically infinite varieties and kind of color schemes that you can tie it in. Hopefully you can find a color scheme that works in your rivers for your watersheds to fill out your mayfly box for spring, summer, and fall. The carriage of this is going to be a size 18, just comp jig hook. You can pick your favorite. I'm using the Tiemco U660 BL and a black slotted tungsten 5/64 bead. So for this, and again, you can combine colors. This is going to be a Baetis or a bluing olive. So I'm going to use A-dot olive done. And I'm going to work that thread base back and then back again, making sure to stack those thread wraps so it's clean. Going to take a piece of extra small black ultra wire. I'm going to lay that right next to the hook shank. Stack those thread wraps right next to each other. Then for my tail, I'm going to use a couple fibers, Coq de Leon. This is the dark speckled. I usually go a little heavier on the tail than probably is traditional, but I figure I can cut out tail fibers if need be. Kind of set those up. Again, stacking those to the top, stacking the thread wraps on top of each other all the way up. And that's going to give it kind of that taper. I'm going to take that black wire, wrap that black wire over it. Those tails a good kind of push, and then use that black wire to rib over it. About 2/3 of the way up. Trim that wire. Then I'm going to take a black goose biot. I'm going to use this as a wing case. Definitely one of my kind of go-tos. And naturally, goose biots have a cup, and I always make sure that that cup, I'm going to face that cup up so that I pull that over, tie it in at the tip. And you may want to wrap this back over a few of those wire wraps, and that's not a big deal. Trim that. Now, I'm going to tie off this thread, and it doesn't really matter where. You just tie it off anywhere in the middle there of the fly. And you can, by all means, continue with that. But what I like to do is use a lighter color of thread in that undercarriage of the fly. Very similar to things that I do using lighter dubbing. Okay, flies are lighter underneath than they are on top. That's pretty common in nature. And this thread color is going to be light olive versus an olive dun. And I try to the best of my ability, taper that undercarriage up to the bead. Now, I'm going to take a few of these fluorofiber strands. This is like a dun gray. And if you know Juan Ramirez, Hopper Juan, I picked up this trip from him. He's one of our ambassadors, but just a kind of wizard of small mayfly tying. Cut off a couple strands, not too much. There's about 4 there. And I'm going to lay that across, take the far end, and just give it a few wraps to pin back. At that point, I'm going to take that wing case, pull it over, tie it in front, and then tie it off. Yeah. Trim that. Now take those legs, kind of pull them out, measure them, tie them. Obviously set that aside as I'm going to tie a few. Cut that wing case close. Cut those close. And then I'm going to take a little bit of thin UV fly clear, put a little drop, like a drop. I'm going to turn the fly over, and I'm just going to run that drop along the bottom, okay? And hit it with our light. Now, you can do this in 2 phases. You can put some UV on top if you wish, but for me, that's just enough to secure that thread underbelly. And there you go. That's the two-tone thread Baetis.